What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another episode of the Dossier, the Marvel Crisis Protocol show where we talk about Marvel Crisis Protocol characters, their character models, cards, what they bring to the table, and where we kind of think that they're interesting or where would they might fit, or if we have any complaints about them. Of course, these are not meant to be in-depth discussions. You can definitely find more thorough discussions online, and we definitely recommend and encourage you to do so because there's some great talks online about a lot of these characters. And of course, none of these can happen without the wonderful support of the patrons. If you want to support the channel, you can hit up patreon.com/AegisBrandStudios. Just a couple bucks a month keeps all the battle reports, all the dossiers coming, allows us to stay current and modern with all the releases and everything like that. But without further ado, we are talking about Darkstar today. Lania Petrovna, if I'm pronouncing that right, probably butchered it. But yeah, we're talking about Darkstar, and she is another member of the Winter Guard. I was about to say the Crimson Guard, but that's Crimson Dynamo. So let's take a look at her model. And honestly, like we've seen similar models to this before, as far as like the pose goes. She's got sort of like the cool mystical energy. She's on this like ball of energy coming up from the ground there. She's got the cool things around her hands. I actually kind of dig the model. I think there's a really nice sense of forward movement with it. The addition of the yellow as part of her costume design works really well, especially with the blonde hair. So in general, I think she's actually a fine-looking model. It's just kind of a shame we're not as happy with the character itself. I had a lot of fun painting her up. I thought there was some good texture on the hair, the boots, and the magical or mystical stuff. The bodysuit itself wasn't that great, but at least there was some of the deep lines around the star on her on the torso there. It makes it a little bit easier to get that painted in there without going over the black, which is really kind of nice. But honestly, not a whole lot to really say about her model. I think she's generally just sort of like a fine model. It doesn't really do a whole lot more than just being a fine model there. Sorry about that light there. So what does her card actually bring to the table? Well, she's got 5 stamina on both sides. She's medium move. She's size 2, 3 threat, and she is 3/3/4 for her defenses. So it's a very common trend that we've seen across the board when it comes to the Winter Guard. They have that 3/3/4, very very solid with a mystic defense there. Very standard 3s for the other defenses. So yeah, really. For a 3 threat, I don't mind it at all. It's very typical. Medium movement works great. It works great, but that 5 stamina, that one's always a little rough because it always feels like it's 1 stamina too shy in a lot of cases. So as far as her abilities go, she's got an energy attack, Dark Force Strike, range 4, 5 dice. It is a a gainer attack, and you may reroll all the attack dice for this attack. So this one is kind of both good and bad in my opinion. It's a 5 dice gainer, which unfortunately means that she's very limited with how much power she's gaining. But the ability to reroll dice is really nice because if you happen to just like get an absolutely flubbed roll that's not full of skulls, but just shields and blanks or something like that, just pick those dice up and reroll them. Now it's important to note that it is reroll all of the attack dice, not any of the attack dice, so you can't kind of pick and choose. So it doesn't just give you like, well, you got 4 successes and you're going to reroll into a 5th one type thing. It doesn't work that way. It's all or nothing. Then she's got a physical attack, Rending Force, range 2, 7 dice for 3 power. Before choosing the target, she can actually choose if it's physical or energy. Always like it when we have that option. And it's got a Wild Bleed. I mean, this is fine. 7 dice is kind of that sweet spot. 3 power, that's an alright thing there. The range 2 is kind of the problematic part of it. Unfortunately, it's in a range band she doesn't necessarily want to be in. So, I mean, you are kind of putting her in danger by doing so. So just something to kind of keep in mind. But it is a nice attack in the event that somebody gets a little bit too close. It allows her to kind of push back and maybe get rid of somebody, right? So yeah, I mean, it's a fine attack. She's got an active superpower called Dimensional Portal. Choose this character or another allied character within 3 and place it within range 3 of its current position. A character can only be placed by this once per turn. It's 3 power though. This ability is great. Like, there's no argument there. It is a great ability. The problem is that she takes so long to generate power. With her only having a gainer attack, sure, it's range 4, but it means it's probably not online until turn 2 minimum. And by doing the dimensional portal, you're taking what little power you've gained and you're throwing it into something else. She doesn't really have the power to do a lot of other things, which is really unfortunate there. So it's a great ability that's really hampered by poor power generation. She also has a reactive ability, Dark Force Barrier, for 3 power. When this character or an allied character within 3 is targeted by a physical or energy attack, this character may use the superpower to add 2 dice to the defense roll against that attack. And then that character of the allied character cannot be advanced, pushed, or placed by the effects of this attack. Again, really great ability, but that 3 power and her power generation, she's basically a character where unfortunately you kind of have to choose what power she's using, and that's it. Like she doesn't have the generation to really use a lot of the other powers that she has, and that kind of comes down to, or that kind of is the crux of the problem with Darkstar. Now, she does also have an innate power flight, which, I mean, it is what it is. So as far as like where Darkstar goes, I mean, I don't really care for her in Winter Guard. I don't think she really brings a lot beyond helping you get affiliation on it. I think her kit would really be great if there was a way she could gain some more power in the affiliation, but Winter Guard doesn't really bring that to the table. I think where she's going to gain a little bit more traction is in affiliations where extra power comes in. I think A-Force specifically, because it doesn't revolve around her specifically being attacked, so she can get extra power whenever the rest of A-Force members are getting attacked. She could be interested in Red Skull 1 Cabal, where whenever she damages a target, she'll gain an extra power that way. It turns her gainer into a 2 power gainer, which is really kind of nice. There's some other ones, like there's the Doc Ock Spider Foes, but again, it requires her to be targeted for that power generation to happen, so it's not ideal. And then, of course, you can always put her on scenarios like Infinity Formula or Cube Fragments, just anything to kind of power her up. Because I think once she actually has power, her kit becomes very interesting. I think she's got a lot of really cool options and abilities, but it's getting her to that point that is just so difficult. She feels kind of pointless or useless in the early stages of the game, and then by the late stages of the game she folds a little bit too easily, so she doesn't really get to interact with enough of the board state early on, and then by the time you do have her up there, everyone's already powered up and ready to go, and she just doesn't hold up as a result. So it's really kind of unfortunate. She's got a great kit that's hampered by poor power generation. Even if they were to change the Dark Force Strike to a gainer, I think that would just help her considerably more. Or if she just had something to just help her gain just a tiny little bit more power. I think her Dark Force Barrier could probably stand to be 1 less power, to be completely honest, with how she currently exists. But that's not really for me to say. Hit up the comments below. What do you think about Darkstar? Have you found some success with her that we have not? And of course, let us know what you think overall about everything. And of course, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.